Hello everyone, we are hanging out on the Star Wars The Old Republic test server not too long before the expansion is set to come out. The Legacy of the Sith expansion is slated for February 15th, 2022. We are taking a look at the Jedi Knight Guardian. We're going to take a look at all three disciplines: defense, vigilance, focus, so both the tank and the 2 DPS styles, and kind of go through the different trees and abilities that are available there. You'll be able to see my bars as I change them down here. And one of the major changes to all of the classes that is coming up is that some abilities are being removed, some abilities are being combined, some abilities are being put into a choice of 3. So this is the new interface for your character and for your abilities, and basically your tree. If you happen to remember the utilities screen, this is basically kind of like utilities, but the utilities no longer exist. Some of them exist in this tree, but some of the choices are your actual abilities. So basically, I'm going to go through each of these 3 disciplines and you can see what's on there. So once again, we are on the test server. We don't know if this is the final iteration of what the Jedi Knight Guardian will look like. If you want to give your feedback, you can do so on the SWTOR PTS public test server forums. All right, let's jump into defense. So at level 1, you'll automatically get your Swtorista form. This is your passive, your thing that makes you a tank instead of a DPS. And at level 23, you're going to pick up... is this one a choice? Sometimes it's hard to tell with this new UI. I wish it was a little clearer. It looks like you pick up these 2 abilities: Threatening Focus, which instantly generates 6 focus, reduces the cooldown of Taunt and Challenging Call by 5 seconds, and damages all taunted targets around you. The second you get is Warding Strike, much like before. It increases damage reduction and shield absorption by 3% for 20 seconds, generates 6 focus, and deals weapon damage to the target with a series of quick melee attacks. So where things start getting interesting that you may not be familiar with yet is that on the test server and in the expansion, you'll be able to make some choices related to some of your main abilities. Your first choice comes at level 27. At level 27, you'll be able to choose between these 3 options. The first option is Marked Assault. Warding Strike deals 50% more damage to taunted targets. The second option is Antagonizing Assault. Increases the damage, critical hit chance, and threat of Warding Strike by 20%. The third option is Defensive Assault. Warding Strike increases your damage reduction by an additional 2% when it deals damage. At level 35, you'll get your first choice between some actual abilities. So 2 of them are passive abilities, and 1 of them is an active ability, like one you can click. And at level 35, your 3 options are Debilitating Slashes, which causes Blade Barrage, immobilizes the target for 3 seconds and generates 1 focus, so a little stun. Cyclone Slash, slashes up to 8 enemies within 5 meters in front of you. So conal AoE attack. And the last option is Blade Burst. Blade Storm does damage to additional enemies in a cone in front and slows them by 50% for 6 seconds. So you may have noticed that you had Cyclone Slash before. Now it's part of the tree. That means if you log in when the expansion hits and you're like, hey, where'd Cyclone Slash go? You can choose it as an option between these 3 options at level 35. At level 39, you'll get Guardian Slash. It slashes the target with a powerful stroke, dealing weapon damage, enabling riposte, and impairing the target. If you are protected by Warding Strike, Guardian Slash damages up to 7 additional nearby enemies for the same amount. So this is pretty standard. But at level 43, you actually get to make a choice about Guardian Slash and how it's affected. Your first option at level 43 is Crushing Mark. Guardian Slash deals 50% more damage to taunted targets. Hey, that's kind of familiar, isn't it? Second is Guardian Focus. Dealing damage with Guardian Slash while Warding Strike is active grants a barrier of protection to up to 8 allies within 10 meters for 6 seconds. And lastly, Critical Slash. Guardian Slash and threat generated is increased by 20% and its cooldown is reduced by 1 second each time it critically hits. At level 47, it's another one of those choices between 3 passive abilities rather than affecting a single ability. So your first level 47 option is Marked Focus. Dealing direct damage to taunted targets generates 1 focus and heals you for 1% of your maximum health. This effect can occur once every second. Second option is Thwart. Guardian Leap grants Thwart, increasing the damage dealt by your next melee ability by 20%. This effect lasts for 10 seconds. Additionally, reduces the cooldown of Guardian Leap by 5 seconds and reduces the threat and damage taken by an additional 10% each for the friendly target of Guardian Leap. And lastly, Critical Defense. Critically hitting with a direct attack reduces the cooldown of your threatening focus by 1 second. Threatening focus purges movement impairing effects. At level 51, you'll just straight up get Hilt Bash. And at level 60, you'll get another choice between 3 different passives. The first is Unyielding Justice. Increases the range of Blade Storm to 30 meters, but Blade Storm deals reduced damage beyond 10 meters. Additionally, Force Push deals 20% more damage and grants Unyielding Justice, allowing your next Blade Storm to deal full damage regardless of the distance from the target. Second option is Defiance. You generate 4 focus when stunned, immobilized, put to sleep, or knocked around. And lastly, Battlefield Command. Getting attacked reduces the active cooldown of Force Sleep by 1 second. This effect cannot occur more than once every 1.5 seconds. So as I'm going through, if you're already playing a Jedi Knight Guardian, you may recognize some of these as former utilities that have been moved into this tree and are now part of the tree's choices. At level 64, you're just going to pick up Warding Call. At level 68, you'll have another choice of 3 different passives. Stalwart Defense. All damage is reduced by 30% while stunned. War Master. Force Sleep grants Unremitting, granting immunity to movement impairing effects and effects that push or pull you around for 4 seconds. In addition, Force Sleep enables your next Dispatch or Whirling Blade to be used against a target with any percentage of health. And lastly, Second Wind. Reduces the cooldown of Resolute by 30 seconds and causes Resolute to heal you for 10% of your maximum health when used. So at level 73 is when this big choice happens. And this big choice is across all different disciplines, combat styles, advanced classes, whatever you want to call it, across the board. All of them will have to make a big choice at level 73. This big choice for new players is going to be 3 exciting new abilities or passives. And for existing players, it's going to be a choice between often 3 existing abilities. And you'll be sad that you're missing out on 2 of them. So for the Jedi Knight Guardian tank, the defense, the level 73 option is going to be Awe, which is your group stun. Your group stun that breaks on damage. The second option is going to be Saber Reflect. Much like before, it reflects all direct single target damage. Really, really cool defensive ability. And third option is Blade Blitz, which is a movement-focused ability that blitzes you forward and also increases your defense chance by 100% while you're moving. So really, really big choice to make at level 73. You'll notice that it's actually the same for all 3 of these disciplines. The tree doesn't change too much at a high level between defense, vigilance, and focus. You have to make that big level 73 choice. So at level 78, you'll also have another decision to make, and it's going to be between 3 passives. So we got Purifying Sweep. For the defense discipline, Force Sweep slows the target's damages by 60% for 10 seconds. And then it does something else for Vigi and focus. The second option is Gather Strength. Whenever your movement is impaired, you gain a 10% damage bonus to your next ability that consumes focus. This effect can stack up to 5 times and lasts 15 seconds. And lastly, Through Peace. Reduces the cooldown of focus defense by 30 seconds. Alright, and then on the side here, you'll notice that you do have some abilities that you just get automatically. There's Sarasu Form, Death Storm, which makes targets unsteady. Lunge, riposte consumes 1 less focus. Expeditious Protector increases your armor rating by 15%. Bonuses of being a tank, you know. Blade Barrier which is a damage absorption when you use Blade Storm. Abating defense, which increases shield chance. Courage has a chance to grant parrying, deflecting, shielding, or resisting an attack has a 50% chance to grant courage, which reduces the force consumed by your next Blade Storm or Dispatch. Inner Peace, which increases the duration of Inure and damage reduction. And defensive swings, dealing damage with Blade Barrage increases your defense chance by 2%. So just kind of the stuff you would get along the way naturally as a defense tank. So now we're going to jump over and take a look at Vigilance now. So Vigilance is something I've actually been enjoying playing lately myself. Though I am not playing it at an extremely high skilled level, more I'm just enjoying being able to run through the rotation. So let's take a look at what it automatically gave us. So you may have noticed that it pre-selected some options for me. So I talked about that very difficult level 73 choice between Awe, Saber Reflect, and Blade Blitz. It automatically chose Awe for me, but it's very easy for me to switch it. There's really not much of a timer. I do have the Legacy unlock to switch things on the fly. I don't know exactly how that affects things yet, but I'm just running around and I can make choices in this tree very easily. There is a bit of a cooldown between switching between these three options here. There's like, I don't know, 15-second cooldown. And as far as I understand, you can't change while you're in a instance. Like you can't change while you're in a Flashpoint or Warzone. But it's pretty easy to change when you're outside of it. These are almost immediate. And these are like, I don't know, 10-second cooldown. So basically you could do it between fights if you really wanted to. So for Vigilance, right away at level 1, you'll pick up your Xian form, which basically makes you a Vigi Guardian. And at level 23, you'll get your first set of proper abilities. And that's not to say you won't have any abilities as you level. When I was first trying this out on the test server, I was under the impression that looking at this tree, I wouldn't have any abilities till I hit level 23. That's not how it works. You're fine. Don't worry. At level 23, you'll pick up Burning Focus, which ignites your burns on all targets within 10 meters of you, dealing a portion of their damage and generating 6 focus. This is still pretty much exactly how it was before. And you'll have your Plasma Brand, which engulfs your lightsaber in fiery plasma, instantly dealing elemental damage with a further elemental damage over 12 seconds. Where it gets interesting for the Vigilance Guardian is at level 27, you'll get a choice that can affect your Plasma Brand. The first option at level 23 is Branding Burst. Killing a target with direct burn damage while affected by Plasma Brand causes it to explode, hitting nearby targets. The next option is Cauterizing Brand. Increases initial damage of Plasma Brand by 50% and reduces its cooldown by 2 seconds. And third is while Plasma Brand is on a target, the critical hit chance of all your burn attacks on that target are increased by 10%. So which of these three should you take as a Vigilance Guardian? I don't know. For the most part, this one makes it a area of attack. It hits nearby targets. This one increases the crit damage and reduces the cooldown. And this one increases the crit hit chance. So this one makes it AoE, so multi-target attack. And these two, someone's going to have to go do that math and figure out figure out for the most part which one's stronger and where that works into your rotation. We might have two entirely different rotations based on which of these you choose. So at level 35, you'll have a very similar choice to as if you're playing the tank or the focus discipline. And that'll be between Debilitating Slashes, Cyclone Slash, and Blade Burst. But at level 39, you'll pick up Overhead Slash. And that executes an acrobatic attack that deals weapon damage. And what's interesting is at level 43, you get a choice of 2 passive abilities, or an ability that replaces Overhead Slash entirely, called Leaping Strike. So if you decide to choose the replacement ability, Leaping Strike, this is what it does. Executes an acrobatic attack that leaps towards the target. Oh! It gives you a jump ability that leaps towards the target, dealing weapon damage and immobilizing them for 3 seconds, replaces Overhead Slash, and triggers any of its effects. That's kind of cool. Kind of similar to the Sentinel having a second leap to the target. And it is a short range leap, so a 10-meter leap. The second option is a passive. It's Burning Pommel. Overhead Slash deals 10% additional damage and generates 1 focus for each of your periodic burn effects on the target it hits. And the last option at level 43 is Burning Offense. Overhead Slash does additional critical burn damage when it hits, and Overhead Slash's critical hit chance is increased by 20%. At level 47, you'll have an option between 2 passives and Force Clarity. So Force Clarity used to be something that was automatically given to your character at a high level. It basically increases your next direct single target melee attack by 25% and is consumed as you use it, and you kind of refresh it over time. It was definitely one of those things that was adding to the complexity and things you have to watch while playing your Jedi Vigilance Guardian, or I believe Focus Guardian as well. But now they have taken it out of your base abilities and put it into this tree. So if you log in when the expansion hits and you're like, where's my yellow man Force Clarity guy? He is in the tree. So you'll have Force Clarity, or you can choose also between 2 passives. Burning Focus no longer generates focus. Instead, activating Burning Focus grants Searing Meditation, increases the critical hit chance of all your periodic burn effects by 50%, and generating 1 focus each time you critically hit with an elemental burn effect for 20 seconds. And lastly, Critical Conditions. Critically hitting with a burn effect reduces the cooldown of your Burning Focus by 1 second. Activating Burning Focus purges movement impairing effects and heals you for 2% of your max health for each burn effect it triggers up to 20%. So it's very interesting. This one's kind of a defensive, movement focused option. This one is a just affecting your dots, making them stronger, and this one's an outright 25% boost to the next 4 direct attacks you do. So someone, once again, is going to have to go do that math, see if this one or this one is better for damage. And then even if you're a more casual player, let's say Force Clarity, the one you have to actively click, gets deemed to be the best one, you as a casual player may say, that's just one too many things for me to watch. I'll just take that free bonus free bonus damage here in the middle tree for Searing Meditation. It's gonna be an interesting time as we move into the expansion here for all of the classes. So at 51, you're gonna pick up Whirling Blade. And let's see, are these different? So for the rest of the tree, between Defense, Vigilance, Focus, it's mostly the same. At 64, you're going to pick up your Vigilant Thrust, kind of like the last important ability for your discipline. And the one thing that changes is at level 73, you're still going to pick between Awe, Saber Reflect, and Blade Blitz. But at level 78, things change from the Defense Guardian, because the first option is Purifying Sweep. For the Vigilance and Focus disciplines, Force Sweep and Vigilant Thrust sunder the targets they damage for 45 seconds. Sundered targets have their armored rating decreased by 20%, and then you're going to choose between that and Gather Strength and Through Peace that we talked about earlier. And I'll go down the side tree here as well for Vigilance. These you just kind of automatically get on the right hand side. So you'll have Shen Form, Burning Blade, you'll have Burning Storm, and these tooltips are up here if you just want to read them yourself. Burning Purpose, Robust, Force Rush, Keening, Smoldering Saber, and Burn Master, and those are specific to Vigilance. All right, let's take a look at Focus. Focus I have also been kind of starting to learn to play. It's been a lot of fun so far. Once again, not learning to play it at a high capacity, so I can't give you guys quite as much feedback as an experienced player can. I'm mostly going through these trees so you can kind of take a look and compare it to your own experiences so far. So, on Focus, once again at level 1, you'll get Shicho form right away. And at level 23, you're going to pick up Combat Focus, which instantly generates 6 rage and increases movement speed by 50% for 6 seconds. Oh. Did it used to give a movement speed? I know it always used to give you, it generates rage? Hey, it doesn't generate rage, it generates focus. Whoops. So we're on the test server. Once again, there's going to be typos and stuff like that. And you'll also get your Focus Burst, a key ability for Focus, which blasts the enemy target with a powerful burst of force energy, dealing kinetic damage. There is some options at level 27. to affect your focus burst. So here's where it gets interesting once again. At level 27, your first option is Unstable Focus. Focus Burst unleashes a burst of energy around the primary target, dealing kinetic damage to nearby enemies. Focusing Strike. Focus Burst deals 15% more damage and applies trauma to targets. Trauma reduces the healing received by 20% for 10 seconds. And Zenith. Dealing damage with Focus Burst or Force Sweep increases your critical hit chance and critical hit damage by 20% for 6 seconds. This effect cannot occur more than once every 8 seconds. So once again, this does just a burst of kinetic damage, increasing the critical chance, or applying trauma. So same thing. People are going to have to do some math, a big math, and decide what's going to be better. Maybe some things are better for PvP, for certain bosses, stuff like that. But in general, there will be a winner in the numbers chart that someone will figure out what it is. But as an individual player, you're totally open to choose any of these 3 options, especially while you're just casually playing, and see how they look, feel, and damage for the way you play. Okay, next up is going to be our level 35 choice, and this is your first choice with an instant ability in it. And once again, you're going to have to choose if you want that Cyclone Slash there. The choice is exactly the same as the Vigilance and the Defense Guardian. And you choose between your debilitating slashes, Cyclone Slash, which is your frontal conal attack, and Blade Burst. At level 39, you're going to get your proper Zealous Leap, which is your short range leap. Kind of interesting, we saw that on the Vigilance Guardian. We had the option to give ourselves a leaping strike, which is kind of like this little baby leap that we get automatically on the Focus Guardian. But where it gets cool is on the Focus Guardian. At level 39, you'll get Zealous Leap, but at level 43, you'll get something that affects your Zealous Leap, a choice between 3 passives. So the first is Zealous Annihilation. Killing an enemy within 3 seconds of dealing damage with Zealous Leap resets the cooldown of Zealous Leap, Force Sweep, and Focus Burst, and increases their damage by 25% for 6 seconds. This effect can only occur once every 6 seconds. The second option is Zealous Defense. Activating Zealous Leap puts a mini ward on yourself which absorbs damage, lasts up to 10 seconds. And Zealous Discovery. Activating Zealous Leap reduces the cooldown of combat focus by 3 seconds. So it's very interesting. You can turn your Zealous Leap almost into a defensive ability with Zealous Defense. Something that will drastically change your rotation, as it will reset the cooldown of multiple abilities there, or a reduction of combat focus. So very interesting 3 options to play with here. I think it's going to be a lot of fun to see these used situationally. Like, there's not going to necessarily be a clear winner for every fight. Depends. Do you need to survive? Do you need to attack? And like I said, these are very easy to change on the fly, at least on the test server. So at level 47, you'll be able to choose, once again, we talked about our Force Clarity option as being an instant click, Focused Meditation, and Critical Conditions at level 47 to choose between. Level 51, you'll pick up Force Exhaustion, much like you had before. At level 60, Unyielding Justice, Defiance, and Battlefield Command, much like we talked about earlier. Pretty much the rest of this entire tree is going to be exactly the same as we just covered in Vigilance, except at level 64, you're going to pick up your Concentrated Slice. And you'll have to make that very hard decision at level 73, where you have to choose between Awe, Saber Reflect, and Blade Blitz. Pour one out for my homies there. So we're going to go through the stuff that happens on the right-hand side here. I don't know if there's an actual term. I apologize for these abilities on the side here. They're kind of discipline specific, I think is the idea. So Shicho at level 1, Momentum, which reduces the cooldown of Zealous Leap at level 23. The Heightened Power increases damage at level 35. Felling Blow, which make your next Force Sweep or Focus Burst automatic critical hit. At level 51, Zephyrian Slash. At level 60, Singularity. And once again, these are on the screen. You guys can read them yourself. 68, Force Lash. Level 73, Focused Vision. And lastly, at level 78, you'll have protective focus. So that's basically the Jedi Guardian in a nutshell. You'll also have some on your abilities bar. You'll notice that we didn't talk about the stuff was originally just the Jedi Guardian attacks, and they're still on here, like your basic strike, your basic slash, and stuff like that. They're all in here, and you'll have some abilities early on. And the trees mostly focus on the things that are specific to your discipline, to defense, vigi, or focus guardian. I hope you enjoyed this overview. I'd love to hear what you think about the changes to the idea of using tree to decide our abilities, using the trees, and what you think about those special specific choices for each of those disciplines at those levels where you got a big choice to make, either for level 27, level 43, or the big one down at level 73. If you want to show your support for these in-depth news and guide videos about Star Wars The Old Republic, visit swtorista.com/support. And if you want similar videos like this about your favorite game to show up on your YouTube homepage, subscribe to this channel. See you guys later.